Have you ever had that sudden urge to run to the restroom? It is no fun to have a UTI. So here today on the Supplementarian, we're going to cover preventing and dealing with UTIs. Hello everyone, I'm Elizabeth Dyer and I have with me my co-host and co-worker Jayne Rizner. Jayne, say hello to everybody. So let's talk about why we get a UTI, how we can deal with it when we have one, and what we can do to prevent future ones. Do you know that if you ever get a UTI, you're far more likely to get a second and a third or fourth and on than you are if you've never had one at all? That's right. Once you get a UTI, you're like 10 times more likely to get another one. That's no fun. So today we're going to talk about what happens to create one and then what to do when it happens. So Jayne, explain to them a little bit about what creates a UTI in the first place.
Well, what happens to your body is that your body gets too acidic one way or another, and the bacteria that prevent UTIs that live in your system all the time die off in that acidic environment, and then that leaves it open for unhealthy bacteria to enter into the areas, the urinary tract. So how you get it is still a little bit of a mystery. Like, you don't swallow it or anything. It's just about the flora in your internal body. It's about how you, sometimes it's because how you eat. If you eat a really processed food diet with a lot of sugar, that will cause you to tip over into being too acidic, and then therefore you can get an infection. Sometimes it's from the other end. It's about, I guess I'm allowed to say this, it's about how you wipe yourself. As women, we know we gotta always go, front to back, because you can get stool in that area and that will cause an infection. So it's really about, you can prevent the infection either which way if you have a healthy bacteria in your system. But if you don't, you can't take a lot of assault from the outside without getting
and that bacteria
an
starts to, attack your urethra itself and then on into the bladder, and you could end up even with bladder spasms, and that causes people to urinate on themselves, either a small amount or a large amount, depending on how bad that spasm is, things like that.
Yeah.
And they're no fun. And
and worse, it can even travel back up into your kidney. So then you'll have a kidney infection, which is a much worse problem than just in the bladder.
And none of it is fun. Nobody wants that urge to have to go all the time, and the pain that's associated with that. So, and as she mentioned, like, especially for women are more likely to get these than men are. And when we have had babies, that can cause damage to our bladder as well. I know, like they said, my bladder had fell. I've had 6 children. So sometimes they do operations to tack the bladder back up. I chose not to have that. But that distance, if the urethra itself gets a kink in it or anything else, it can make it a lot easier for those bad bacteria to live there. And our bodies are not perfectly straight and aligned and everything else, as the drawings will show.
Right. And also because your bladder's not emptying out completely. So if your bladder doesn't empty completely, some of that urine just sits in there, and that can start to create an infection.
So once you find yourself with the urge to go more frequently or anything like that, it's important to deal with it immediately. And as we mentioned, one of the ways our body naturally fights these is the good bacteria that should be living in this area, in our entire urinary tract system, and we can replenish those. That's the wonderful thing about it, is we can take those and replenish it. And we have a great product here for probiotics for the urinary tract system. And Jayne, tell them that brand and what that one's called.
This is from Health Aid, and it's called URI Probio, and it is specifically targeted to help in times that you have urinary tract infection or to prevent
and that's important to know that if you're prone to it, you want to do as much to prevent them as possible to allow, your urinary tract system to be as healthy as possible. All those individual cells can get damaged. The more that are damaged, the more problems you have. So with that, we want, the good bacteria, which is in that product. And then something a lot of people already know to do is cranberry juice. And that's got a really high concentration of cranberry juice. There's a chemical within cranberries and certain other berries, but cranberries has the most, and it will actually kill those bad bacteria that affect us and give us the UTI. And then it contains another substance, which is one I personally like to take on a regular basis, called D-mannose. And D-mannose is actually a sugar, but it doesn't affect your blood sugar. It actually goes straight to the urethra and attaches itself to the wall, to the lining of that, and keeps the bad bacteria from being able to grow there, while the probiotics will kill any that find their way there. The D-mannose help prevent it from actually being able to live there to start with. And it also seems to help with the pain that's associated with having a UTI.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other things if you do find yourself with a UTI. You want to have 1,000 milligrams of cranberry and 500 milligrams of D-mannose. And you also want to have 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day, if you can take vitamin C, because that is a very powerful combination. And you need to start taking it immediately when you start feeling any frequency or urgency or burning with urination, because the urinary tract is such a nice environment for bacteria that they multiply quickly, and it can get really bad really fast, faster than some other types of infections that you can get. So it's not like you can probably just have a little frequency for several days and maybe it'll go away and maybe it won't. But if maybe it doesn't, it's getting worse quickly. So you just have to be real careful. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that you need to get your body moved back over into a more alkaline state. Now, if you may know about acidity and alkalinity in the body, and the body doesn't have very much wiggle room at all, because if you become too acidic, you'll go into acidosis. But being acidic is what your body does when you die. When you die, your body immediately turns acidic, and it's nature's way to send the signal for all the bad bacteria to come and, decompose you. So that's just a nature's way of what to do. But because our diets are so processed and so laden with sugar, we walk around acidic all the time. So some of us are just a blaring signal for bacteria to come decompose us.
It's like, don't die before you're dead.
So you want to start a diet of good green leafy vegetables and things that leave an alkaline ash. And you can Google about leaving an alkaline ash, which just pushes the needle very slightly, because it doesn't have far it can go either way before your body kicks in some do loops that assures that your body's not going to get overly acidic or overly basic. So overly alkaline. So another good thing you can do is you can get actually alkaline water, because you want to drink more water when you have a urinary tract infection, but you want it to be alkaline water. So they just sell that at the grocery store or any kind of store. And if you look for it, it just says alkaline water. And the pH is just very slightly more alkaline than just regular water that you would get. So that's what I like to tell everybody that is worried about a UTI.
So we've covered a whole lot of bases here. If you've had a UTI, you really want to work to be preventative, because you're more likely to get another one down the road and another one down the road. So the preventative is much better than the cure, and you can save yourself the pain and aggravation. But then the things, if you do find yourself with one, the cranberry, the D-mannose, the probiotics, switching your diet so it's more alkaline, the vitamin C, all those things will work together to help your body heal and get back to normal as fast as possible. So there you have it. If you have any questions, come visit us on Merchants Walk at S&S Smoothies and Supplements and take a look at what we have. We're happy to help you because I, for one, know having a UTI is absolutely miserable and we don't want you to be miserable. So come see us and let's help you feel better and live better.